Chapter 2, Part 2, The One Community. The religion being revealed to Muhammad was called Islam, which in Arabic meant to submit to God. Submission to God began, according to the Qur'an, with God's creation of the natural world. Nature is unified in its submission to God's law, which is no different from natural law. Indeed, the Qur'an regards the natural world itself as a revelation of Islam, so unified and faithful is it to God's law. Of more immediate relevance among the Bedouin of Muhammad's time, divided as they were into tribes and clans, was the announcement in the Qur'an that the oneness of God demanded the unity of those who served and worshiped God. That unity would begin with the Bedouin, who would become Muslims, as well as all those who submitted to the revelation of the Qur'an. In the end, that unity was to embrace the entirety of humanity, for the only religion acceptable to God is a religion that acknowledges God's oneness and serves God alone. But that didn't mean that everyone had to become a Muslim. The Qur'an, from the very outset, declared that there were other true monotheists, united with Muslims in the worship of Allah. These monotheists had revelations that had been received by Moses, the prophets, and Jesus, and all were true revelations of the one God. So Christians and Jews were also part of the unity demanded by the one God. As Islam grew and encountered new religions and cultures, it would recognize other monotheists, not mentioned in the Qur'an. So, at the early stage, the claim of the Qur'an was on the Bedouins to be unified, and subsequently on all of those polytheists who heard the revelation of the one God. All of them would need to embrace Islam and be united in their obedience and worship to the Qur'an and its prophet, but not necessarily Christians, Jews, and other monotheists. From a practical perspective, unity would be expressed in two ways. The first was political. The economic fractiousness of the Bedouin tribes with their internal conflicts and mutually destructive raiding had to end. In the future, they were to be united in a single mission under Muhammad and his successors. Their first task was to subdue their fellow Bedouins, and from there to convert all those polytheists who worshipped idols and who failed to acknowledge the oneness of God. As a result, Islam became a political movement, spearheaded by the combined military prowess of Arab horsemen. As such, it would subdue much of the world and create a succession of Islamic empires. The second critical form of Muslim unity would be belief and practice. Muslim worship would be expressed in relatively simple Arabic prayers that would remain unchanged across generations and cultures. Muslim belief would finally be codified into 6 essential teachings of the Qur'an that would be equally universal and undisputed across the history of Muslim communities. This unity of community, practice, and belief creates one of the most enduring and deeply held Muslim ideals, that all humans can be joined with all of nature in a single submission to and worship of one God. Yet the demand for unity isn't just a social challenge, it's also a spiritual challenge. As I have said, since the time of Muhammad, there have been Muslims who wish to go deeper into that unity and what it means. They don't wish to merely submit to God's will. They want to directly experience oneness with God and indeed what is called wadat al-wudud, the unity of being. We'll discuss these Sufis in the next video. Thank you.